Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We salute the Environmental Stewardship Awards program and celebrate 20 years of honoring the outstanding work of cattle producers in caring for their land and resources.
And now, a special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. As a cattleman myself, I've grown up with a love for the land, and I believe our nation's strength stands on the solid foundation of our abundant natural resources. No one knows this better than the men and women who've built their livelihood on America's ranches and farms. They depend on the land, and they live out their commitment to protecting, preserving, and even improving the environment for future generations. For 20 years, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and National Cattlemen's Foundation have honored these innovative, dedicated cattle producers with the Environmental Stewardship Award. Today, we bring you the story of the Environmental Stewardship Award and 20 years of honoring the excellent hard work of cattle-producing families and stewards of the environment. We'll take an in-depth look at the past 2 decades of this important program that does 2 very important things. It shows the general public how effectively farmers and ranchers care for the land, and it also helps other producers learn from the successes of these award winners. Of course, all this would not be possible without the support of sponsors who see the value of the program and who've joined with NCBA and the National Cattlemen's Foundation to keep the Environmental Stewardship Program going strong. Dow AgroSciences and the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS, are long-term strong supporters of the program, and we visited with them to find out why.
We know by experience that many times cattlemen don't get due recognition for all the stewardship practices that they have on their land. We think maybe by elevating this in some small way, it will encourage others to be good stewards for the land.
NRCS is very fortunate because we get to work with cattle producers all over the country. And I've met some of the award winners in the past, and they are just absolutely stellar producers. So it's really an honor to be associated with this awards program and to get to meet these winners firsthand.
We share the belief that the cattlemen have that we must improve the land, we must improve the productivity of the land, and we think this is just some small way to recognize those who work very hard to be fine examples of stewardship.
I don't believe there's any question that cattle production and the environment are compatible. And anybody tells you different, I don't believe them. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the care and the love that these producers have for their land. I've seen the wildlife resources on their land, the water resources. I do not believe anybody who says that these are incompatible uses, because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of ranchers across this country who prove that you can do it every single day.
There is great personal satisfaction for cattle producers who can see the progress they're making to improve their land and natural resources. But the recognition that comes along with the Environmental Stewardship Award is also meaningful. And since Dow AgroSciences has been involved, each year the 7 regional winners have been honored in a very special way.
When Dow AgroSciences got involved in the Environmental Stewardship Program, we came to learn that there was no tangible prize for being a winner. So we commissioned an artist, Vern Friesen, a cattleman from Nebraska, to put this sculpture together. And I think it kind of epitomizes what it is that's trying to be conveyed here in the Environmental Stewardship Award. This is truly a unique piece of art. It was commissioned specifically for this award. The only way that you can get one of these is to be selected as a winner for the Environmental Stewardship Program. Hopefully it will become somewhat of an heirloom and passed down much the same as the land is through generations to come.
The legacy these winners leave is written on the landscape. It's written in better productivity, a better bottom line, a quality environment, and it's written in a legacy of sustainability for the future. And that's what every one of these winners leaves behind.
Outstanding support from sponsors committed to the program, including Dow AgroSciences and NRCS, has been one key to the success and longevity of the Environmental Stewardship Award program. Now, let's begin hearing from some of our past winners, talking about some of the qualities that have made them successful. Each cattle operation faces its own unique challenges, but if you could spend time with all the winners from throughout the years, you'd see they all share one key philosophy: take care of the land, and the land will take care of you.
I think most farmers and ranchers realize that environmental stewardship is really something that benefits them more than it does anyone else. By taking care of the land, making the land more productive, then they're more productive as a farmer, as an agriculturalist.
Few individuals really know a land like those who make a living from it. Although their livelihood depends on the land they work, each Environmental Stewardship Award winner has taken the time and the energy to balance the needs of the land with the relentless demands of running a successful operation.
Environmental stewardship and ranching go hand in hand, and today, to be a successful rancher or even to be a profitable rancher, you have to be a good steward of your natural resource.
Well, I think our main goal on this ranch is to improve all of our land, get every acre as good as we possibly can do it.
The healthier the environment we have, the more it produces, and the more economically stable we are, the more we're able to put back into the land, and the more we're able to focus on environmental health.
The most significant part of our operation would have to be the soil health, because whether you're talking rangeland, talking the cropping system, it all relates to the soil. You're only going to get out of it what your soil has to offer.
The land gives us everything, you know. Without it, we would be just sitting here with nothing to you know, we earn everything off of the land, and the best way to keep our future looking bright is to take care of it now.
But it's up to us as ranchers to do whatever it takes, I think, to get along and look at a total ecosystem and everything that contributes to that ecosystem, and take care of it and manage it to where it'll be successful.
We try to take extra good care of our land because, of course, as being grass farmers, if we don't take good care of our soil, we can't grow good grass, and in turn won't have the ability to produce forage for our cattle.
The crops, the cattle, the land, they're not just a job to us, it's our life. We're not trying to look at how this crop's going to come out. We're going to look at how we can make the next 10 crops, or how we can live here, and how our cattle operation is going to grow.
And managed wisely, cattle can play a key role in keeping the land healthy. In fact, grazing benefits ecosystems by helping the plants grow strong and healthy.
It's very important that cattle are part of this combination, this puzzle that we do out here of trying to put this whole thing together to keep this prairie going.
When I was green and ignorant and didn't really understand about rangelands, I thought that the cows just ate everything and left it ruined. And now I know that that happens sometimes, but it all depends on how the cattle are managed. And if you give the land a chance to recuperate and move them around, and most particularly if you watch what's happening and don't do it by some book, the cattle can be used as a tool to stir the land, to put their droppings into it, mix it up, do all the kind of tilling and fertilizing and so on that the land really needs.
The cattle are extremely important to us. We enjoy quality beef, we raise quality beef, we share that quality beef with other people, but the natural resources are the real reason we can do that.
Raising crops and feeding cattle and grazing cows is a balance, and we try to do the best we can. And it's a tough job to manage that, but we're in it for the long haul.
As valuable as the land and soil are to farmers and ranchers, perhaps an even more precious commodity is water. First, being blessed with developing and improving streams, rivers, ponds, or lakes on your land, and then getting enough rainfall and managing well what you get. Wise water management on a farm or ranch can be the difference between a good year and a bad year, between profit and loss, and even between survival and failure. All of the stewardship winners throughout the years have used proactive, environmentally friendly management practices to improve water quality.
Water is a source of life for everything on a ranch, including the cattle and the families that raise them.
We drink the water, our livestock drinks the water, so we don't want to see the groundwater contaminated just like everyone else.
I don't want any water polluted because I've got to drink this water right here on my place. My children, my grandchildren have got to drink this water. If I was a polluter, it would affect me before it affects you.
Of course, cattle need ready access to water every day, but allowing free access to streams and riparian areas can ultimately harm the water supply. Good grazing management is the key to maintaining water quality. Many of these ranchers have implemented riparian buffers, which limit access to streams, or they provide alternative water sources for cattle.
Our family's been involved in farming in this area since the mid-1800s. We've always been concerned with the water quality and conservation efforts as much as we could be. That's why we're really concerned with preventing erosion in the stream. We want to save the water quality.
We've got about 120 feet in a lot of places for buffer strips that protects the streams and the waterways, and it makes a cleaner environment and makes us feel better and makes the neighbors even feel better about us. And we also maintain 300 acres of woodland for wildlife and water retention. So we feel like we're doing an excellent job in the environment and their stewardship.
When I first put in a water tank, most of the farmers and the ranchers in the area said, "Phillips, you lost your mind. You know, they've got water to drink in the creeks, just let them go to the creeks." But for whatever reason, we decided that we thought it would be best in the long run not to do that. And so we started with one, and now I think there are about 30 tanks on the place, and it's worked very well.
Water is the lifeblood of the cattle industry, and we found over the years through water management or water diversification, if you would, and by that I mean we've developed water pipelines and taken it to off-stream storage tanks. It's helped several things, riparian areas, our cattle distribution. Without water, we have nothing.
Even if you successfully keep the cattle out of the water, runoff from fields and feedlots can pose a threat to streams, rivers, and lakes. That's why the Environmental Stewardship Award winners are committed to management practices that keep nutrients out of the water.
We just have tried to make a real effort to do a better job at holding our soil in place where it is, and certainly that helps with the water quality of the area. And it's just something we're much more aware of than we were, say, 15 years ago.
We feel it's very important to limit the amount of sediment in the water that leaves this place. And we really don't want to have that much water leave it. We've got some streams and some springs that are continuously flowing. So obviously they're going to have continuous runoff into the Arkansas. What we do to make sure that the sediment is as small as possible, we fence off some of our streams. We put fences around some of our ponds to limit the amount of tracking that the cattle do in and around it. They don't have to have the whole pond or the whole stream to have a good water supply.
We're within a couple 100-mile radius of 25% of the world's fresh water supply. So whatever we do here, we have to keep in mind that we got to keep the groundwater and the surface water free from the nutrients that we produce here.
I think it's in all of our best interest to try to come up with as many water conservation measures that we can so that we adequately manage the water, that we don't waste it, that we use it where it's most needed and try to manage it so that there's enough to meet everyone's needs.
If you'd like to learn more about the Environmental Stewardship Award Program and see photos and full videos of many of the past winners, visit the website environmentalstewardship.org. Ahead on this special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, award winners share their tips on innovation for your cattle operation and ideas for improving your land with a better grazing system. Plus, the important stewardship winners place on leaving a legacy for future generations. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
Consumers count on America's cattlemen to deliver quality beef every time. So in your daily work to raise cattle, keep quality top of mind in everything you do, in the care, feeding, and handling of your animals. You can be a part of a national program that provides sound, proven guidelines for beef cattle production that will establish you as a leader and responsible stockman. Beef Quality Assurance, or BQA, is a national program funded by the Beef Checkoff that can help you strengthen your operation, improve cattle care, drive more value to the bottom line and increase consumer confidence in the quality of America's beef. Producers across the nation have embraced the BQA program because of their commitment to be the world's best producers of beef and because assuring beef quality is our job, not someone else's. Find out how you can become BQA certified. Visit the website bqa.org.
Welcome back. Over the first 20 years of the Environmental Stewardship Award Program, there have been more than 130 cattle operations honored as regional winners of the award. We're proud to feature the honor roll of all those past winners throughout our special program today. Now, in addition to caring for the land and water, stewardship winners have also raised the bar when it comes to protecting and enhancing the wildlife habitat on their land. In fact, ranches across the country support a lot more than just cattle. The same land that provides food and open space for raising cattle also offers a home for many types of wildlife, including threatened and endangered species. These award-winning ranchers see the growing populations of wildlife as a sign that a thriving cattle operation can live in harmony with nature.
Our livestock and wildlife, they run together, and you can really see a difference, especially in the increase in our wildlife population. We get an increase in wildlife population due to the fact of our grazing rotation systems and that we don't overgraze our land so the wildlife have more food to eat.
Anytime that you see wildlife and that they're doing well and perhaps their numbers are maintaining or increasing, we get pleasure out of that and know that we're doing a good job.
We had a rule in our family that we never clear more than 60% of our land. And I think that's why we have so many endangered species and so many eagles. We've left that in habitats for them, and they've lost it somewhere else, and they've come to our land.
The cattle and wildlife do extremely well here coexisting. Has to do with the dense cover they have on both sides of this meadow, the food they forage on in this meadow, and specifically the management practices we do that the white-tailed deer like, the wild turkey like, and of course the cattle too. And that's basically a short rotation of the cattle in and the cattle out, plus the times that we turn them in here. We don't let the cattle in to disturb the deer when they're fawning or to disturb the hen turkeys when they are laying and hatching their eggs.
We have to balance our cattle production with native wildlife production, because in this part of Texas, the value of native wildlife really far exceeds cattle values, and the cattle are an important part, though, of our management program. Really, without cattle and using cattle as an ecological tool, we wouldn't be able to have the success we have in managing native wildlife habitat.
Since we have turned to a more sustainable way of farming and ranching, the wildlife numbers have exploded, so to speak. White-tailed deer, sharp-tailed grouse, pheasants, coyote, fox, mink, wild turkeys, a myriad of raptors, plus a lot of other non-game species all make their home on the ranch, and it's really good to see.
The things that we do for cattle most of the time are very beneficial to the wildlife. As we do our normal cultivation practices, we try to maintain a mosaic of landscapes that help to give the wildlife the type of cover and habitat that they need, and also provide for the cattle and their needs.
We found that if we really manage things, water, grass, forbs, trees, for our livestock, we're also doing that for the wildlife. And then we've added a lot of extra things such as waters for the quail, extra water for all of the wildlife on the ranch, and so they go hand in hand.
Ultimately, wildlife, and they live off grass and a lot of the growing plants, so you have to maintain an environment where you consistently have that supply for them. Stewardship ultimately is taking care of the land, the animals, the wildlife, developing a system that maximizes the livelihood of everything.
You may wonder, just how do you win the Environmental Stewardship Award? First, you have to be nominated. Any organization or individual can nominate a beef producer for the Environmental Stewardship Award. Nominations are usually due early in February or March each year. After that, a committee of experts from in and outside the cattle industry evaluate each nominee and pick a winner from each NCBA region. The selection committee often includes representatives from groups such as the Nature Conservancy, the EPA, the National Wild Turkey Federation, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and NRCS. Also on the committee are 3 beef producers.
It's been a really great program. I've had the opportunity to be involved in it all the way from a participant in it as a national winner in 2000 to, at the present time, chair of the selection committee. And as we've watched that program grow and develop over the last 20 years, it's been really exciting.
Isn't it an exciting program? I love that program because of the fact we're showing the best of the best in this country. We're showing people that are environmentally sound in everything they do. I mean, it isn't just when they're on the camera that they're doing things right. They live their lives that way.
20 years ago, they decided that we needed to develop spokespeople for the beef industry so that we could have readily available top operations to use as good examples.
It's a great educational tool, not only for other producers, but also for young people in our schools. It shows that, you know, most of the people that are ESAP winners say cattlemen are the true environmentalists.
Once again, the beef industry, we were ahead of the curve, and it's something that we do naturally, not even thinking about it, is trying to be good stewards of the land and preserving the resources that we manage.
We can't be polluters out here. And so to raise cattle, we have to do the best job we can environmentally.
The selection committee looks for both sound conservation practices and the ability to serve as spokespeople for the industry. You can download a copy of the nomination packet on the Environmental Stewardship website at environmentalstewardship.org. We'll be right back.
Try it for 60 days and let's see the difference it'll make in your animal.
You have an all-in-one feed, it makes all the difference in the world.
It's been a very good product for us.
My chickens are really great layers, and I think that's because of how I feed them.
They look more complete, they fill out really well.
You get exceptional gain, you get exceptional growth.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Take the 60-day challenge and save up to $55 on Purina feed. Sign up at purinadifference.com.
Quality matters to us because we're entrusted with the safe transportation of animals. Those animals can represent generations of hard work. It's up to us to deliver the goods that drive the beef industry. We link all the segments of the beef industry together, passing the torch of quality from one business to the next. Consumers count on us to bring the quality that starts on the family ranch to their home. I'm proud of what we'll do here today.
Welcome back to this special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. For many people, the view of cattle grazing in an open field reflects the ideal image of what it means to be a rancher. But it takes special care and handling and often very intensive management to ensure cattle don't damage the grass that is such a valuable natural resource. It's a challenge nearly every Environmental Stewardship Award winner has taken as a personal commitment to do whatever it takes to wisely manage and constantly improve their grazing.
Cattlemen not only care for their cattle, protecting the grass is just as important, and the livestock play a key role in sustaining that resource. Grasses have evolved with animals eating them, and in order for them to grow strong and healthy, they need to be grazed.
In the evolution of these prairies in here, the bison and the buffalo and the elk and stuff grazed this country, and that's how these plants evolved. They evolved by being bitten off. If you just let them go and don't ever work them, don't ever bite them off, don't ever walk on them, they get lazy and they lose all their vigor.
If you don't have grass, and if you're not a good steward, you're not going to have anything for the cows to eat. They're eating the forage to produce the beef. So if you're not a good land steward, you might as well walk away from it right now.
We try to show people by example that you can have grazing and cattle and that things work real well in harmony together, that it's just not one or the other. We go on the theory that non-use is as bad as overuse.
The key is managed grazing. Most ranchers agree that moving cattle frequently and giving grazed patches time to recover will help improve the grasslands in the long run.
It's smart management. You just don't turn your cattle in on a piece of ground and leave it till it's all gone. You try to management to get maximum growth and maximum nutritional value out of that piece of forage, which is much better for the land, much better for the cattle, much better for the wildlife in the area. That's what management-intensive grazing is.
Earlier when I was operating with my father, we would run the cattle in all the pasture at the same time. And now lately we've been fencing the pastures and doing some rotational grazing. They run in one pasture maybe for 2 weeks and then move them to another pasture, and it just seems to increase the production you receive from the grass.
We've always been very conservative in our grazing patterns. We've never taken the grasses all the way down to the bare ground. We always leave something back, and our experience has been when we pull cattle off early enough in the spring, the grass will come back, and the economic benefit is that you have a lot of good fall feed for your cattle, but it just provides extra habitat for the animals out there. We just think it's a win-win situation not to overgraze your land.
10 years ago, I started with intensive grazing. You know, I was reading a little bit about it, kept seeing more information about it. You know, it just started making more sense. With the intensive grazing, it has enabled me to increase my herd, and with increasing my herd, I'm grazing more of my acres longer because I'm letting my pastures rest. It is the best thing that I've done on our farm.
Rotational grazing involves fencing a pasture into several small paddocks. Subdividing the pastures is a smart way to balance livestock needs with forage supply.
We're a big fan of managed intensive grazing. We take big pastures and make them into smaller pastures with temporary electric fencing. We found that it really helps us in managing the grass, which in turn helps us to manage the cattle.
Rotational grazing has been the lifeblood. Plus, we always operate to manage grass. We're grass farmers first, and we take an approach to understock the number of cattle compared to most farms and ranches. That pays off in the rotation program and having healthier grass. And when droughts come along, we have some grass. May not be as the amount we want, but we have some grass, and we are not forced to go to market under stress situations with depressed prices when people are having to sell because they don't have grass.
Long as I remember, we rotated pastures. We rotate more now than we have in the past. Some people stockpile other commodities. We stockpile grass on the ground for a year-round grazing operation.
By rotating, they get that best grass all the time. And then they're easy to handle that way because they know when you're coming that you're promising them some fresh grass, and they move and handle well. But from a nutrition and poundage, gain, economics, you need to rotate.
We would have nothing to show if we didn't use the rotational grazing. That's the pivotal point of everything we do. You know, the cattle, they're secondary. The grass is our product. The cattle are our harvesting machines, and that's what we walk to market. And we have to take good care of them, but our base resource is grass. That's what holds the whole world together.
I know from personal experience the value of having more than enough grass to carry your cattle through the year. It's inspiring to see how these stewardship winners have taken their grazing management system to a higher level. We'll have more right after this.
Quality hay starts with quality equipment. That's why it pays to go with the long green line. Get the hay tools you need to tackle everything, from the first cutting through the last bale of the season. Choose John Deere and get quality that lasts, reliability that stands the test of time, and resale value you can take to the bank. All backed by the finest dealer network in the land. John Deere. nothing runs like a deer.
Get 0 for 48 or big cash discounts on select John Deere hay equipment through August 1st. There's never been a better time to trade. See your local John Deere dealer soon.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Each Environmental Stewardship Award winner has made the effort to work closely with government agencies and conservation and wildlife organizations to assist in the development of environmentally friendly practices. They have seen the value in building partnerships that strengthen their operation.
These outstanding cattle operations showcase how working hand in hand with local, state, and national conservation groups can really pay off. Often experts from many disciplines come together to help ranchers conserve natural resources and protect wildlife in efficient, smart, and sustainable ways.
Partnerships have been the lifeblood of this organization. Our ranch is thrived on having those organizations help us. We don't have the expertise. We need that technical assistance to help us do whatever project it is on the ranch.
It's great. I mean, we couldn't have done this by ourselves. I mean, the technical assistance alone was very valuable. I don't know how you could even put a value on this.
I think that the thing that I really focus on is the partnerships. We wouldn't have been able to meet our resource goals if we just worked by ourselves, and we've been very fortunate. I have a very good working relationship with several different groups and agencies.
NRCS has been great for the development that we've had, because you can do a long-range plan and plan a whole system out, and we've done that, and it's been invaluable to us. I don't think we could have been near where we are.
The federal government has long been committed to the conservation of natural resources on private lands. Since the 1930s, a system has been in place to provide farmers and ranchers technical assistance on management issues. Originally established by Congress as the Soil Conservation Service, NRCS has expanded to almost every agricultural county and offers free technical advice on a full range of issues.
NRCS has been a vital part of this farm for several years. They make available resources for all farmers, cattlemen, that will enhance the natural resources of a particular farm. It may be a watering operation for the cattle. It may be a place that we can control erosion. And the good thing is the incentive that it gives financially to producers will sometimes make them take that extra step that they need to do to really enhance their operation. So I'm very high on NRCS.
Through NRCS programs such as EQIP, we've used cost sharing to fence out ponds and stream banks, and that has been a big help to the health of the ponds, the stream banks.
Farming and ranching is a fast-changing industry anymore, so there is, I feel, much of a need for continuing education. So you reach out to Extension and NRCS people, you know, in search of knowledge and expertise that you can utilize to help your operation.
Many cattle producers have also been leaders in entering portions of their land in permanent conservation trusts that protect ranches from development and ensure open space for future generations.
Building those partnerships is essential to fostering positive change for the land, the water, the wildlife, and the cattle. And it's key in another way. At a time when so many people either don't understand what we do or have a negative perception about cattle production, strong partnerships help producers get our story told. We know cattlemen care for the land every day and usually without fanfare, but these efforts are worth noting. NCBA and the Beef Checkoff work with Stewardship Award winners to serve as on-the-ground spokespersons for practical conservation. It shows legislators, opinion leaders, and the general public how cattle producers are effective caretakers of the land.
I think one thing that we need to be aware of is that more and more we're not isolated out in the country like we were, and we've got people watch what we're doing, are interested in what we're doing, and we need for them to know that we're producing what they consume, and we're a vital part of that chain, and we want to do a lot of the right things.
For me, it's a responsibility to leave the land in better condition than you found it, and it's also to some degree the responsibility to educate the community to what that means. And so it's more than just taking care of the land. A big portion of that is educating our community and partners in that.
It's a really special part of our lives. It's something I've always wanted to do. And I also feel it's important to share this with the general public. There's a lot of people that never have the opportunity to come out on a place like this or even see what it's all about.
We have many groups come through the feedlot in the year's time and try to show them that we are the stewards of the land and the livestock, and we're doing the best job possible. We've got an open door policy here, and anybody that has a question, they're always welcome.
We have thousands of cars by us every day. We want people, when they come by, to know that we're doing it right. People are more environmental conscious today than they've ever been before. I think it's very important that you keep your image as a rancher up so that you're looked on as not a polluter in our community.
The farm and feedlot are highly visible to out-of-state visitors and to those commuting to and from their jobs in Denver. It's important to us to project a positive image for both our farm, our feedlot, and for our industry.
The willingness to share their knowledge and invest time in sharing their story and mentoring other producers is another aspect of stewardship. These are more than just well-run farms and ranches. They are places where others come to learn what it takes to manage a successful, sustainable cattle operation.
We've hosted some tours, some farm tours here to show other producers what we're doing. And a couple of them have come back one-on-one, to see what I'm doing, and I show them around, show them the fencing that we've put in, the watering system, and I've encouraged one of them to help them get going on that. He come there and had a lot of questions and saw what we were doing. He liked it, and he's doing that on his own land.
We're proud of what we're doing and sharing that with other people. And I go on other tours at other people's places, and we talk about this stuff. And I've seen some of my neighbors improve what they're doing because of what we're doing. So this transcends our property line. It goes across, and the further it goes, the better.
We've been fortunate enough over the last 10 years to have visitors from 41 states and 14 foreign countries here. And that's just a part of what we think we can do to show people the benefit that cattle have to the environment.
When people ask me to visit about it or whatever, I just feel almost like a sense of pride to go ahead and talk about, because this stuff is so important. It's easy for me to talk about.
If something works and you can help somebody else see it, I mean, what better steward can you be than that? If you ask me, my single most important thing that I do is we share. We help other people too.
Would you like to join the effort to tell the real story of stewardship and how cattlemen care for the land? Consider becoming an NCBA member. Call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org. Stay with us. Baxter Black is coming up right after this.
Draxxin, clearly cattlemen's #1 choice to fight BRD. Here's why.
Nothing is more depressing in a stalker business
as the doctor and doctor. And you still have your chronics, you still have your death loss. And with Draxxin, we just found out that, especially with microplasts, you just had to be there to see the results.
And the evidence backs up what most cattlemen already know. Draxxin cuts chronics and mortalities by 70%. So talk to your veterinarian and check the online calculator at Draxxin.com. You'll see, nothing gives you more for your money when you're fighting BRD.
Just a great antibiotic.
Very, very effective. Don't let the price tag scare you. It's a no-brainer. You just use it.
Do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Do not use in calves to be processed for veal. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Please visit Draxxin.com or call 1-888-DRAXXIN for more information.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, long hauls, never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
70% of consumers want to know where their food comes from, and how can we ignore them? IMI Global offers third-party audited source and age verification essential for export markets and specialty markets like natural, organic, omnivoric, Eskimo, or possibly recovering vegan certified. For quality and age producers to the big boys, any cattleman who wants to expand his market, you're not just buying this green ear tag, you're buying peace of mind. IMIglobal.com. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Elizabeth Barrett Browning, 1857. How can you get bucked off? Let me count the ways. Baxter Black, 2011. Over the years, I have chronicled hundreds of horse wreck stories. One only need to look through any rodeo scrapbook to see spectacular displays of flying bodies, nose-diving human projectiles, and cartwheeling cowboys caught catapulting on camera. Ron, our hero, is an outfitter in Washington State. Now, packers and outfitters, in my opinion, look at horses differently than cowboys do. Cowboys expect a degree of cow savvy, quickness, and good looks. Packers put very little store in looking good. I don't mean personally, but in a horse they want a stout one with stamina and strength. Long hair, big feet, Roman noses, or the disposition of the Unabomber is okay, as long as he packs his share of the load. After all, packers never shave either. Bill is a carpenter with a bad neck. He asked Ron if he could put a handle on a new horse he'd just bought. Well, Ron mounted the beast, and from the start, it was obvious that the spooky-eyed devil had not spent much time in the Western pleasure class. They started making circles in the round pen. Then Ron attempted a sliding stop. Well, Hammerhead stopped all right, and then he started backing up. And Ron swiveled to the right, and then to the left, but Hammerhead kept on backing. And then he reared up on his hind legs, and he began hopping backwards. And Ron hung like a monkey on a flagpole until he slid off the rump and landed on his butt. Ron looked up at the crazed horse that was still hopping towards him. He scooted backwards crab-like until he hit the fence. The horse crashed into the boards and sat on Ron. "Are you all right?" asked Bill. "No," said Ron. "Are you sure?" "Yes, my leg's broke." Realizing he could not lift his friend by himself, Bill ran to the barn and came back with his stall-mucking wheelbarrow. "Are you sure you could carry me in that?" said Ron. "Yeah," said Bill. "I've hauled bigger loads of manure than you in this here rig." This is Baxter Black from out there.
Welcome back. As we visited with Environmental Stewardship Award winners over the years, one trait that everyone has in common is the desire to leave a legacy for future generations. These award-winning ranchers are in it for the long haul, and they're building operations that thrive for years to come. And when a farm or ranch stays in a family for 50 or 100 years or more, it's only natural that each generation wants to keep improving the land and making it better for the next.
Whoever owns land is basically just a caretaker. We have to be able to pass it on to the next generation, and hopefully you pass it on in better shape when you got it. This farm will be in better shape when I pass it on, just through the conservation practices that we put into play.
Agriculturalists have always been the ultimate in the environmentalist, and even though that's not recognized a lot of times. And we have just tried to, and I feel accomplished, making our resources better and more stable than they were before.
When it comes right down to it, we don't own anything. We're just left as stewards to take care of what we've been allowed to manage while we're here. And it's our job to make sure that that happens.
As my father had taught me, if you take care of the land will take care of you. We're only here on Earth a short time, and we need to pass on the land to the next generation in the best shape, or make it better, actually, than what we received the land. And that's what I try to do.
We want to make sure that the place is better than we got it, and we leave it better than we found it. We know we don't really own this land. We just get to be here for a period of time, and we're interested in the water and the soil, the land. We want to make sure that the next folks have a better opportunity even than we have.
My dad kept this land, and his dad kept the land, and all the other generations kept the land where we could do what we're doing. I respect the generations I don't even know right now to leave this for them. And really that's my philosophy from my heart.
Throughout our family's history, it was always taught us that, if you don't take care of the land, it's not going to take care of you. We're not in it for just a short time, make some money thing. You got to look down the road and try to maintain it for future generations.
We've created a place here for several families to make a living. It's been hard work, I know, but that's kind of the farming game, I guess.
If we can make a living on the land without disturbing the environment, then we've probably accomplished our goal.
We are managing for the future. We're not stocking the ranch as heavily as it could be. We're resting a portion of the ranch each year through rest rotation grazing. Our logging operation, we're managing for the future. We're managing it for levels that we feel are sustainable, and yet we're hoping to preserve, to enhance, and to improve this resource, so actually we can hand off a resource that's in better condition when at the end of our watch, when our job is done, a better resource than what we received, we can hand off to the next generation.
It is our hope that someday that our children will have the opportunity to live the life that we lived, and that's what it's all about. It's sustaining these ecosystems so that it will sustain us and the wildlife that we enjoy and the people that we enjoy and the livestock that we enjoy. It's about continuing sustenance of the environment.
I take quite a bit of pride in knowing that this ranch is going to look like this in perpetuity, not only for my kids and their kids, but their generations down the line, and I feel very good about that.
You need to be a good steward to keep your grasses for your cattle, and just to help the ranch going, but it's also bigger than that. I think it's important for the whole state and the whole country to keep your natural resources going and just keep the environment as healthy as you possibly can.
The grass is better, the ponds are better, the creeks are better, we maintain our runoff better. That's what I'd like to be remembered by from my neighbors, is that I left the place a lot better than when I bought it.
I want my kids and my nieces and nephews to be out here and enjoying this property, and their kids and grandkids to be out here doing the same generations from now. And so my hope is to keep this place as a working cattle ranch and keep a viable working cattle industry that can support these type of ranches.
Now, over the years, there have been hundreds of beautiful, amazing photos taken as part of the Environmental Stewardship Award program. Photos capturing the winners in action, caring for their land and their cattle. We can only share a small sample here, but let's take a look at some of the Environmental Stewardship Legacy photos. Those Stewardship Winners photos are used time and again to help tell the story of modern, environmentally friendly cattle farming and ranching. If you'd like to see more like these, visit the website environmentalstewardship.org. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Hats off to the Environmental Stewardship Award program and the winners, sponsors, and everyone involved who has helped make this program a winner for 20 years, and it's still going strong.